Bad Kimi is the fourth episode of the first season of All Grown Up, and this one focuses on a character called Z. Z is branded as a bit of a bad boy, and Kimi takes a liking to him, but Chuckie's not happy about that. So Chuckie follows Z and is determined to get to the bottom of what he thinks is mysterious about Z and try and convince Kimi to not spend time with him. And we do start to see some changes in Kimi, which I thought was visually quite interesting. And some of the other characters, Tommy and Lil, for example, speak to Chuckie and kind of agree with Chuckie, but they're definitely not as proactive in trying to stop Z the way Chuckie is, because at the end of the day, Kimi is her own person, and if she, falls for the wrong person, she has to learn the hard way. But Chuckie is obviously not keen on letting that happen. I feel like Z as a character was quite interesting, quite a well written character, definitely unlikable as a person, but decent as a character. And I think the animation design for him worked well. It was nice to see some changes in Kimi as she began to be influenced by him. And there's obviously a lesson here that you don't know who you can trust. You don't know what people are like. There's a pretty great scene in Java Lava with Chaz and Betty, and when Z first walks in, how Chaz responds is, well, unfair, because Chaz just judges Z by the way he looks, and I think that there is also a message in here that you shouldn't judge somebody by the way they look, but also if you give off a certain vibe, people are going to respond in a certain way as well. It's a decent story. It's a nice lesson about being careful with who you're around, and how much do you really know somebody. So I think it developed quite well with some good messages. However, my favorite narrative was actually the subplot. Angelica has an advice column, but she's also involved in the opening of a new fashion boutique or accessories boutique at the mall. So she agrees to let Harold take over her advice column for one night while she's away doing this fashion opening. And Harold loves it. And he gives what seems like really great advice. And I won't say any more about that part of the narrative, but I thought it was really, really well done. And Harold was in his element. I like that Susie was helping him out as well. I think Harold and Susie are an interesting pairing. Maybe more so when they were younger, but even as they're older here, I think they work quite well. I like kind of when they're both on screen. I think they have a really good on-screen chemistry. So everything about this episode worked really well. I can't imagine it would ever be a favorite episode. It's early days, so you never know, but it doesn't have anything that particularly stands out to me as being particularly amazing or fascinating. But in general, I think it addressed a couple of really important topics. We had a great mix of characters. Yet again, I'm getting another feeling, as I did with the previous episodes, that it's the opposite of Rugrats, where Tommy was at the centre of pretty much most stories in Rugrats. Whereas Tommy definitely seems to have a back seat here. Again, it's early days, that could change, but so far, he's been there to support his friends, to provide information when it's needed, but he's not really been at the centre of anything yet, so I'm keen to see what happens with that. But for now, I'm really enjoying All Grown Up, and Bad Kimi is definitely a good episode.